So how many of you brought your horns? All right, good. There's a few. I want to work with you a little bit. Who wants to come up first? Or do you know any of it by heart? It's slow? That's okay.
It's a classical.
Yeah.
It's boats up hard, yeah.
Oh, I love that piece. Can you play a little bit of it?
Possibly.
Yeah, give it a go. Yeah, no, that's really good. That's almost the whole opening phrase. Cool. I want to try something with you real quick, where you have a thing happening that I used to always have, and that spitty sound. Is that normal for you? Do you get that a lot? Yeah. I'm going to play a note. Can you take your mouthpiece off? This is just a little mouthpiece game that I'll do with students, and I certainly didn't invent it. Every teacher I ever had did this with me too, but I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. So, okay, so go ahead and blow into that mouthpiece just like you would on the saxophone. Let me hear what pitch you're blowing. So you're blowing about there. Can you blow? So you're gonna have to blow faster air. So really firm up here. Yeah, that's close. So it's going to be, your parents are going to love this when you go home, by the way. You do that? Yeah, do it one more time. Nice and loud. Okay, now I want you to put the mouthpiece on there and play just like that. Remember the feeling that you had, and play into the saxophone just that same exact way. Same support. Do you hear the difference in sound?
Yeah.
It's a lot fuller sound, right? Yeah. There also wasn't quite as much spit. When you really tighten up and you're playing higher and you're not using enough airspeed, you'll get more spit problems and you'll have a little bit thinner sound. So whenever you get your horn out in band, get that mouthpiece out, drive everybody crazy just for a few minutes, and try and blow that concert A. So it's like your F sharp on your saxophone. Take the mouthpiece off one more time. I'll play the note and you blow the pitch. This will also help with intonation quite a bit.
So would I go faster there?
You'll need to, yeah, and you'll need to relax just a little bit to bring that pitch down. Almost. Yeah, that's it. Again. Yeah, that's it. It's a really annoying little game, isn't it? But it works. That's just a real quick, helpful tip. I'm going to clean this mouthpiece off and I'm going to get you another reed. Yeah, do you notice any difference?
Yeah.
What do you notice?
It's more, it's softer. It seems
Softer,
softer,
right? A little more mellow. That's that dark color that I'm talking about, that dark sound, the warm sound. It's hard to describe sound, but that's what people mean. That's a warmer sound and a little bit darker sound. And it was a little bit more even as you got up towards the top. Why don't we try it with an MO?
This way.
Yep, it's an inverted ligature, we call that. So as long as the screws are always on the right, no matter what ligature you have, you're golden. That's where the screws belong. If they're on the left, it's the wrong way. any difference there?
I didn't.
You didn't? Yeah. It's really hard. Ligatures, it's a much more, like I said, it's the icing on the cake. For me, it seemed like it was a little bit easier to play, but that's just to my ear. Thanks for coming up. Here's a 2.5 V21. You can take it home and give it a shot. I think that might be a little bit better strength for you. So, thank you. Nice job. All right. Saxophone or clarinet? All right, good. Come on up. And what's your name?
George.
Sorry?
George.
George? How long have you been playing?
This is my third year.
Third year? Okay. Do you know what kind of mouthpiece and reed you're on?
This one's a Vandoren Reed.
Vandoren Reed?
I don't know. I forgot what kind, but then
Okay.
I don't know what mouthpiece.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's a Vandoren mouthpiece. How about that? Hold on to your clarinet there. I think it's probably a 5RV lyre, but everything's worn off of it. Looks like a 5RV lyre. Okay, play us a little something, George. Nice, okay. All right. What strength reed are you on?
3.
3? All right. It sounds like it might be a little bit hard, but before we do that, can you play just a little bit louder for us? There we go. That's a much better sound, right? So the reed's fine. It was just a support issue. You always have to support. Your stomach should be firm whenever you play. Playing a musical instrument is a workout. It's not an easy thing to do. If you're not sweating after, an hour of continuous playing, then you're probably not working hard enough, right? Okay, so that's a traditional number 3, I think. So let's start with reeds. Go ahead and play the same thing. Did that sound like it was easier or harder to play? A little harder, right? So here's something that you can do. I mentioned how you can make more reeds work within a box. If it's a little bit too hard to play, try moving that reed down just a little bit, so there's not quite as much surface of that tip vibrating against the tip rail of the mouthpiece. This should make it seem a little bit softer. What do you think? Did that help at all?
Yeah.
It did? It felt a little bit easier? Let me see what you got going on here. Another thing you can do, I moved it up just a little bit. Try that. Another thing you can do, you can move the reed side to side a little bit. So one way to test this is play into the instrument, and then if you can twist it just a little bit and see if it's harder or easier to play when you twist it. You hear how when I twist it that way it starts to mute a little bit? I'm going to move whichever side started to mute when I twisted it. I'm going to actually shift it a little bit the other way. So I'm moving this. The right side was a little harder to play when I twisted it, so I'm moving it just a little bit to the left. It's a little bit more even sounding. I don't know if you can hear it out there, but it makes it's much more responsive that way. And that's just because, cane is a plant. There's going to be parts of it that, another thing with Vandoren is no matter what strength the reed is, whether it's a 1 or a 5, it's the same thickness in either strength. So this number 3 is the same thickness as a 5. It's just what you get are variations in the strength of the fibers from time to time. So right now, that side of the reed's just a little bit stronger, a little bit more resistant. So when I shift it away so that not as much of it is vibrating on that surface, it gets a little bit easier to play. So go ahead and try one more time. Any different? About the same? About the same, yeah. So one thing, reeds and mouthpieces aside, one thing I noticed when you're playing clarinet is it's a little bit out. Try and draw that in just a little bit, and think of your tongue being up just a little bit. If you're too far out on clarinet, here it's more resistant. And that's because as you pull out, you're actually closing off the reed. When you do that, bring it closer to your body, you're letting more of that reed vibrate, so you're getting a fuller sound. So you just bring it in just a little bit more. Yeah. And think of almost like a cat would say hiss, right? You're directing that air right down the clarinet. More air. Now play that scale with that same direction and same air. Yeah, certainly a fuller sound, right? Now you just got to work on controlling it. But that's one little tip for clarinet. Just draw that clarinet just in a little bit more. And then do you do long tones?
Yeah, I think.
So a long tone is it's exactly how it sounds. So you just play one note for a long time, or maybe a series of notes for a long time. So here's one simple long tone exercise that one of my teachers taught me once. It's you just start on a C, your low C, and we're going to go down what would be the C major scale. So it'll be like C, B, and then you go back to C, C. So it'll be like this. And then you can do a little diminuendo at the end, and then you go down to the A. And while I'm doing that long tone, I'm thinking embouchure, so I'm thinking flat chin, which will help keep you from bunching up the reed. So kind of like this, almost like you would say VOO, that V sound, VOO. You bring the corners forward a little bit. And I'm thinking tongue up just a little bit. Give it a try. We'll do it together. Ready? And. Again. And I guarantee if you do that for 3 minutes before you start playing in band or in your private lesson, your sound is just going to open up so much more. But you got to think about it. It's got to be thoughtful, right? You can't just blow through the notes. You got to think embouchure, tongue position, air support.